Hey everybody, Wilter here. Just thought I'd share a story with you about an incident we had when we were actually driving to the Sugarloaf Bluff, where the previous video I put up, that's where we were going. So we were driving there and going down this county road, probably about 7 or 8 miles outside of Winona. You know, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, farm area. And as I'm driving, I see this deer right about 15 feet off of the side of the road. And it's not doing good. It's freaked out and it's trying to get up and run, but you can see its back was broken. The back legs were not working and it was trying to go, but only the front legs would go. So you could see blood coming out of its backside. It was pretty obvious that that deer was not going to make it. So as I'm driving by, I'm thinking, oh, this deer is suffering. And I'm one of the kind of people, maybe some people don't care. They don't care if an animal's suffering. They say, who cares? It's just a deer. You shoot deer all the time for hunting or whatever. Who cares? Well, you know, I don't like to see any animal suffering. And if you could do something about it, animal, people, whatever, you know, so I'm thinking I have a gun with me. I could shoot this deer and put it out of its misery. So as I'm driving, you know, this was about 10 seconds. I decided, well, I'm going to turn around. So I turn around and I'm on the one side of the road and the deer is on the other side of the road. And I'm going, Savannah's asking, well, what are we stopping for? How come we're looking at the deer? And I told her, I think about shooting this deer because the deer is suffering and we need to put it out of its misery. And she's like, oh, no, don't shoot the deer. Just let it die on its own. Or we could try to bring it to the animal hospital. And I'm like, okay, there is no animal hospital for a deer. This thing is just going to lay here and it's going to suffer. You know, it's in pain, physical pain, emotional pain. I don't like to see an animal in that type of condition, so I thought, well, I'm just going to shoot this deer and just be done with it. Well, she's saying, no, don't do it, and I'm thinking, okay, what do I do here? I don't like to see an animal suffering. Every time a vehicle would go by, it would freak out and try to go, and it couldn't go. So I'm looking in at my phone and I was going to look up what the legal implications were if I were to shoot this deer on the side of the road, because I'm pretty sure that's probably illegal. You can't just go shoot deer on the side of the road. Maybe, you know, an officer would understand given the circumstances, but I didn't really want to take that chance where I'm standing out there shooting a deer and a police officer just happens to be rolling by and there I am. So I was pretty much going to look up my phone and I was just about to look up the Winona County Sheriff's Department number to call them and ask them. I mean, I figured if they send somebody out, if they were going to do it, it would probably be an hour or they got other things going on. They don't really care. So I was just looking up the number for the Sheriff's Department and I look up and there's the sheriff, female officer, walking up to my car. You know, it was parked there, walking up to my car. I'm going, oh, all right. And I was probably only there for about 3 or 4 minutes. That's it. So I roll down the window and I tell her, she at first asks, she says, did you hit the deer? And I says, no, I just saw it laying there and it was suffering. And honestly, I'm sitting here, I was contemplating shooting the deer to put it out of its misery. And she said, oh, okay. And I told her about, I wasn't sure because I didn't want to do the wrong thing and get in trouble legally. And she told me that, you know, if I were to have shot the deer, that it wouldn't bother her at all because she'd understand. So at least we had one officer that could understand. And she told me that actually she would shoot the deer and that's what she was going to do. But she didn't feel like my daughter should watch that. And I agreed because that was part of my dilemma. If it was just me, say by myself, you know, I probably would have acted a little bit more quickly. I could have called the sheriffs and I probably just would have shot the deer and been done with it. Figured we were out far, you know, out kind of in the boondocks. I wasn't expecting a sheriff just to be rolling up on me real fast. But just shooting it, to put it out of its misery is obviously the right thing to do. But the problem is I didn't want to do it with my daughter having to watch that being 5 years old. So that was kind of the issue. I'm glad she showed up. That's what I told her. I says, I'm glad you're here so you can take care of this and I don't have to. All right, so the traffic cleared, turned around, and I left, and she was walking across the street. She was obviously going to take care of it. I went down a hill. We didn't see it, which is good, because I didn't really, you could say it's a lesson, for a child to learn life lessons with things like moral implications of having to deal with suffering and to put something out. Sometimes you just have to know when it's time to let go, and the best thing to do is to alleviate suffering. But it's a good lesson, but I don't know if it needs to be done at 5 years old. So there's that. The question is, what would you do? Would you done the same thing as me? Would you just said, who cares? It's just a deer. I'm just going to keep driving. That's what most people probably would do. But here's the thing. If I see something that I feel like I could help with suffering, and I can do something about it, I'm probably going to. I'm never one of the people who just keeps going, who cares? Well, I care. And probably, obviously, that officer cared too, because she took it upon herself to do the same thing. So that's that. And just if you want to comment or see what you think about the story, go ahead and do that. Subscribe to my channel. All right, thanks for watching. Wilter out.